Happy BHE, Michael.
What?
Happy BHE.
Um. What? Yeah.
Well,
Yay.
today
Okay.
it's January 31st. So tomorrow is
Oh. Okay. Happy BHE. All right. Black
exactly
History Eve. Okay. All right.
right. We got Black History Month coming up
We
in
do.
less than one day.
We should probably count it down.
Oh, very much so. Five, four, three,
Ooh.
two. It's time to go. Let's go. Of course, we always love the music. We love the music. That's how that goes. Oh gosh,
Yeah.
I can't believe it. We're coming to the end of January. We're at the end of January, and we're
Yes, we
here
are.
with the last Tuesday of January. Talk on Tuesdays. That's us. Oh my gosh, I love how we look. And wanted to let you guys know that our audio podcast comes out every week, every Wednesday, and you can stream that on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Also, we are
We
on.
Google it.
You can Google our podcast,
Yeah.
which is very exciting. Okay,
It
why
is.
are we acting silly? Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
We are available here on our Interludes YouTube channel, our Interludes Facebook private group. Hi everyone, and also we're on our under Pure Lighthouse Media on LinkedIn. And thanks to Mark Lee, thank you, Mark. We
Thank
are
you,
now
Robert.
we are now
Big
on
homie from
the
Kakalaka.
Interludes. What was that?
I said, big homie from Kakalaka.
Okay. We are on the Pod Roku channel. So that is what's
Yay.
going on. Yay.
Yeah, you can find
Yay.
me on my OnlyFans page. What?
Oh my gosh. So I have to tell you, in preparation for Black History Month, there's a lot of good television that's coming out. And guys, we want to go ahead and say hello in the chat. We're missing Mr. Springer today, but from wherever you're tuning in from, give us a shout in the chat and let us know where you're
Yeah.
tuning in from,
I'm
because
taking
that's
I'm
always
taking
fun.
over that duties. The duties. The duty. I'm doing the
Yeah,
duty today.
there's it. Yeah, so we are without a moderator, but it's all good because
Yeah, I got it. Yeah,
all
good
right.
evening. We said, yeah, good
Thank you
evening,
so
bro.
very much, the Bud, for being
Yeah, good
here,
evening.
and we appreciate you so very much. So
We
back to
do.
the great television that's coming on. Definitely want to get to it. I don't know. Okay, it's taking me a minute to get to it.
The
Here we go.
great
Uh,
television.
for Black History Month, and you're the one that kind of clued me into this, was the 1619 Project. One of your favorites, Nicole Hannah Jones. She
Yeah.
has now been
Fake Wells. My
so on
favorite Twitter
Hulu.
hand.
Exactly, on Hulu. Nicole Hannah Jones is now they've now had it'll be a 6-part documentary showing exclusively on Hulu, and this was initially based on the New York Times podcast and
Woo, they
article.
mad too.
What happened is
Woo,
going
they
to be
big
mad.
mad over this. People that was mad over the article, mad over the book, they big mad over this.
Oh
Ooh,
yeah.
can't wait. Val, tell us more. Val the voice.
Well, in conjunction with Oprah Winfrey, Nicole Hannah Jones, one of the executive
They call me
producers for
Oprah.
this, I got a chance to watch a little bit of it, the first part, and she's going to be including a lot of her own story in it, but it definitely covers a lot of what she did for her podcast for the 1619 Project. And this was actually released in August of 2019 to talk about the when slaves were first on the shores of America, which has been heavily disputed in history and books, and then also we've got politicians and other
What you
folks.
mean? Which part's been disputed?
Exactly when slaves arrived on American shores.
Oh no, that's not dispute. There's no dispute about that.
There's no dispute about us coming. It's not no dispute that we came. It's a dispute
Okay.
on when we came. That's the
No,
dispute.
no, that's not really the dispute.
Okay, what is the dispute? What do you think?
Here's part of the dispute. There she is.
Yeah.
There's Nicole Hannah Jones. She didn't reply to my emails or my Twitter, but that's okay. I still love you. I still love you, you red-headed gal. All right, so here's the deal. So it's not necessarily that people are disputing, outside of Governor Ron DeSantis, the idiot in Florida. There's nobody really disputing whether or not Africans came to America or Virginia in 1619. What they're disputing is, when does America start? This is really when this is the crux of the argument. And there's still either stupid people still writing articles about the show as if it's separate from the book, as if it's separate from the article, which they had a problem with. Now they're continuing that. We don't like this either. Well, I didn't think you would like it. So that's okay. Let stupid be stupid. But here's their argument. In fairness, I'll let you know what their side is saying without editorializing it. They dispute that America started in 1619. They're saying America started, of course, in, wait for it, 1776.
Yeah.
Right. And that's when America became a place, and it became a place for Americans. And then, of course, it came with freedoms, not for all initially, but eventually we came with enough freedoms that we would make space to give freedoms to all later on, after the most bloodiest civil war that the world had really ever seen, and still disputed to this day. Now, if you accept that nonsense, then you start the clock at 1776. Of course, we were taught all this stupidity, Val, by the little songs. Remember, we even had Columbus in some kind of positive, light, like
viewpoint.
Right. Remember 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. And then, 1776. Oh, yay, that's when it all happened. Is that right? Nah, there were people here like almost more than 100 years earlier. And you know what they had 100 years earlier, Val?
What did they have?
Slavery. That's slavery. Okay? There was slavery in the Americas before there was an America. There was slavery from the British. There was slavery from the French. All the people that came over here had their own forms of it. Now, we're just looking at the British here in 1619, Jamestown, Virginia, the founding. So she starts the clock from there, which many other historians also start the clock around there. But there are these folks, the folks that are telling you that it's black on black crime going on in Memphis, and that's what's happening, and it's not what you see with your own eyes, even though you saw all 4 videos. They're the people that are telling you that no, it started in 1776, and they wrote the Declaration, and then in 1787 you had the Constitution, and that's America. Well, not really. And this is what Nicole Hannah Jones explores here. She does so by looking at her own family times and the complexities within her own family, which are interesting, at least to me.
Exactly.
And then it begins to kind of go out from there, what does it mean? Why do people have this sense of inferiority? Why do people have doubt about themselves? Where did we get this concept of race from? Who's walking around checking for one drop of blood in people? Who's setting up these forms? Where is this all coming from? So she
Right.
begins to explore that. That's the ugly underside of our beautiful country, and it's something that deserves to be looked at and explored. I'm glad Big Homie Oprah is on her side and backing her in this, along with the hated New York Times with all the libs, I guess, there. But they're exploring something, and it's really, I mean, if you watch it, you can learn something about your own family by looking at her
Mhm.
family and looking at the American family. And
Exactly.
that's what I think is really amazing about this project. Also, the idea that nobody thought of this before she went ahead
Before
with
she did.
at the
Yeah.
beginning of it. Certainly, many people have looked at 1619 since then.
Right.
The fact that this was the first time that it kind of exploded is
Mhm.
kind of amazing.
And so the episodes, democracy, race, music, capitalism, fear, and justice. So what's happening on Hulu? They're releasing 2 episodes,
And I saw
and
the
it's a,
first two.
and
First
it's a
two were
limited.
excellent.
They sure were, and very engaging. And so this is something, if you haven't heard the podcast, it's available. If you haven't read any of the series, it's available. But Nicole Hannah Jones and her production team has definitely done a great job. Roger Ross Williams, Kathleen Lingo, Caitlin Roper, they're some of the executive producers of this. So, guys,
We talked about it.
The 1619 project is available on Hulu, and it is a great Black History Month. Oh, nope, just not just limited to Black history, American history
Yeah.
of we should be checking out.
Well,
Definitely.
you can't really tell American history without telling Black history. And
Exactly.
that's what the idiot in Florida needs to understand with him trying to block an AP course on African American history, which is just simply ridiculous.
Mhm.
Hello. So it's just simply ridiculous. I don't understand it, and when, and those who don't know the past are condemned to repeat it. We certainly have been
Mhm.
seeing some repetitions in history, sadly. Even within the short span of the last 5 to 6 years. Hey, look at that picture. That's nice.
It's a nice
Like,
picture of
I
Mark.
know,
Hi, Mark.
right? He looked like somebody boss in that picture, huh? Like I'm gonna put like 5 people under you, and then I'm gonna
Mhm.
have you supervise them. Yeah, he looked like a supervisor there too. Can
So
I take
I
a
didn't.
smoke break? What? What's up?
Yeah, I didn't want to. I did want to go ahead and mention um, about what happened in Memphis. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and it's disturbing
Not to.
when I found out that the officers who were immediately let go of their positions were a
Interesting how
part of
that
it,
happened.
and they were a part of an elite unit called the Scorpion Unit. They've totally
Well, they weren't
disbanded
elite
this.
on their fitness, were they?
No, but here we go with another mother having to
Yeah.
bury her son because
Tomorrow.
Carl have to bury her
Tomorrow.
son
Tomorrow. The funeral
tomorrow.
is
The
tomorrow.
funeral's tomorrow.
Yes.
So this is disturbing in the way that this happened at the very beginning of the year. What was it? The first week of the year, Michael?
January 7th. He was pulled over January 7th, and that's the
Hmm.
last time he was able to talk to anybody. And the last person he called for was his mother.
Yeah. Yeah. And he tried to get away. And I know we've some of us did see the video. I saw it. I think Ben Crump posted it on his Twitter account. It
Ooh, Val, I was watching it on CNN. CNN started showing it unedited.
mhm,
Just started
yeah.
showing it, and I couldn't stop watching it,
I had to stop watching it.
we'll talk about. Let's make sure we talk about that part of it too. So
Mhm.
you did stop watching it.
Oh yeah, because they were
Did
playing
you see all,
different
did you see all
angles.
four?
No, they were playing different angles of, the
Yeah,
body
but it
cam.
wasn't the same. The
It
video
wasn't the
wasn't the same.
same. Wasn't the same. And then I was here. Then I listened. I couldn't watch. I was listening to what was being said,
Mm.
and then that disturbed me on a level that brought me to
Okay.
tears.
Well, self care is important. So I mean, is you were taking care of yourself, and that's certainly
Couldn't look at it.
understandable.
Yeah, I couldn't look at it because I'm thinking. And then they showed him a picture of him from the hospital, and then I'm thinking these are five black officers. What was
Irrelevant.
said and what
That's
was done?
irrelevant.
Irrelevant. But my thing is, what was said and what was done that caused you to not only brutalize someone but literally take them out? Like, if you're pulling this person over, what did they do that led you to the brutality that was displayed on his face? And it doesn't make any sense to me, and I'm speechless in the regard of a mother has to bury her child before her. Like,
Yeah,
that's out of
absolutely.
order. It's
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
order.
It is. It's out of order. It's uncalled for, and nobody should think that it's normal. The issue here is this, and I want to say this really clearly because I know people have exhaustion over things. You hear
Mm-hmm.
something so much, you see something so often that even if you kind of agree with it, you start to grow tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
There is a reason that all of us at some point, I know I'll speak for myself. There's a reason that I was been very clear and very loud and very consistent on something, and nobody's gonna turn me around on that. That Black Lives Matter. There is an understood TOO after that. That Black Lives Matter too. Now, what does that mean? That is a message not for necessarily for people who aren't black. That is also a message for people who are black to remind all of us that our lives matter too.
Mm-hmm.
Those
Mm-hmm.
five people who took that young man's life forgot that, and they thought they just had this thing in front of them that was annoying them, that was showing them out, that was making them look weak and tiring them because they were in terrible shape for police officers. My God. Um, and they were so angered that they wanted to get retribution on this person and this thing. And once they did, once they got him in that space, that's when the brutality came out. They began to exact their feelings. That's when you had a running start to a kick in the head. So Val, the voice, I don't know if you saw that, but that was in the last video. The man got a running start like Lucy did the football with Charlie Brown to kick Tyree Nichols in the head with his foot repeatedly. So yeah,
Yeah, and so and
yeah, you see
and
it.
and
I understand because yeah, it's
mm-hmm.
people can take it as trauma porn, and I was certainly Gardis. I love you, man. I certainly noticed that of all the things that Fox News certainly ran it and had Sean Hannity talk about it and show all the angles. So I understand at some point it does look like and become kind of like trauma porn. However, it is important to note and to be consistent on the thing that Sean Hannity's not going to say, that Marjorie Taylor Greene's not going to say. They'll tell you that that was bad what those black people did to him, but that's not what happened. That was
What
police
happened?
brutality, and that was the absence of the true statement that Black Lives Matter too.
Okay. So the funeral, unfortunately, is going to be happening tomorrow. Vice President Kamala Harris will
Yep.
be attending. Al Sharpton, Al Sharpton will be also there as well. And so ultimately, guys, as a reminder, it's just um, we need to know about our history and what has happened with in Black history as we come up on February. People are like, why do we have to constantly be talking about slavery, constantly talking about the civil rights movement, constantly talking about things regarding uh, Black lives? Why is George Floyd's name keeps coming up? And why did it take the anti-lynching law until last year to be passed? And then we are reminded of Tyree Nichols. We're reminded of this, and my thing is that we've got to know if it. And I was just thinking to myself, why didn't anyone in that crowd just say stop? Like, this
Right.
is another person. Let's have him live to talk about, like there's no reason for this brutality, and that type of anger and frustration that those gentlemen yielded at this person. What went wrong with them mentally? That's not important at this time. But my thing is that we've got to learn. We've got to know our history. We've
Yeah, and
got
the
to
history comes
got to
with
embrace
good
it.
and bad. And today is actually a
Mhm.
good day in
Mhm.
American history.
Oh, what is
Today,
it?
if you check, today is the day in which the U.S. Congress, back in 1865,
Oh,
passed the 13th Amendment.
look at that.
So this is the day, this is a day of freedom, actually.
Mhm.
January the 31st, 1865, they passed the 13th Amendment, which did fully what the Emancipation Proclamation partially did throughout the South. This is a day of freedom in
Mhm.
America. It is a day that we should think about in terms of on the eve of Black History Month,
Exactly.
February. And one of the wonderful things about Black history, I always talk to my students about, is that there's so many different ways in which we continue as a people to do amazing things in fields that people don't even think about sometimes.
Mhm.
Right? You know, over the weekend, everybody was so focused in on football, and God bless, you know, those football players. They had two good games. No one got seriously injured. It was
Mhm.
successful. You know, we think about basketball, the wonderful athletes and people who spoke out, you know, over the last several years that have been really good spokespeople as well as athletes in their fields. And you see it kind of continue from football to basketball to golf, right? And
Mhm.
even tennis. You see these wonderful athletes, and they're coming up, I think, younger and younger, coming into to focus, you know, and that's a story to tell. That's also part of our story. That's part of our history, and we certainly want to continue to tell those positive and wonderful stories here at Interludes Extra, where we have that aim, right, to be aspirational, informational, and motivational.
Well,
And
speaking of
I feel
motivational,
it
I think
coming. I feel it coming.
you feel it coming.
I think
I
that
feel it
beat's about
coming
to
too.
drop. I
Here
feel
we
it.
go. Here we go.
Man,
Hey,
hey,
Woo!
hey,
what's up, guys?
hey.
Mike, you and Val had me ready to say, can the church say amen?
Hey man.
Amen. Ah, let me tell you something. Hey, Val, I want to add a couple of things to your story um, that you guys were talking about before we jump into sports real quick. And you're
Mhm.
right on this pre-eve to a beautiful month. I know they call it a month of Black History, But I got a
Mhm.
shirt I need to show you guys. And Black History to me is 365 days a year because we're always
Mhm.
putting history in some kind of way. But those guys in Memphis, speaking of the police, the reason why they did a lot of that stuff, the nickname here locally in Tennessee and in Memphis, they call them the Jump Out Boys, Mike. And the reason why they call them the Jump Out Boys is because they don't even give you a warning of at least on Chicago PD on the show, they say Chicago PD, kick the door in you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
These boys don't. So they notorious is riding around in just 85 cutlasses,
Yeah.
old school Tauruses, pull up on you
Wow.
in a pickup truck, look like you got to deliver some lumber. And all of a sudden they got 5 or 6 on you don't even know. They call themselves the Jump Out Boys, and they do that. Now, if you remember, I don't know if you watching uh, 50 Cent show BMF, but he talked about that in Atlanta when they were taking them boys down back in the day. That's what they were calling. They said the Jump Out Boys too, but it was undercover cops rolling up on certain suspects. And then what happens is if they get a person of a situation that may have a warrant out of them or something, he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't
Mhm.
care. 3 months prior to that, a young man was mistaken by these Jump Out Boys. Police officer threw him out of the car. He was on his way to get a pizza,
Oh,
and the
wow.
report says that they threw him out of the car, face down, cracked his jawbone in the tooth, and found out they had the wrong person. And he reported it to the police department, who never acted on it at all. So the young man that lost his life may have been still here, man. 3 weeks ago or so, they would have done something.
Yeah. So one thing that I will say is that it's very disturbing, and as I pivot from this, you are in Nashville, Coach, and you're doing some very positive things for youth. And I know we had Rob Sign on a couple of weeks back, and we didn't really get a chance to talk about some of the prospecting he does of young athletes. But there is something very exciting that's happening in your world, Coach. What
Yeah.
is that regarding your situation? Tell us
Well,
about
it's
it.
so good. I just got to first of all thank God. Uh, One, I'm
Amen.
connected with you and Mike, and the podcast continues to grow in numbers and put us out there. And last month, I got a chance to put together my own sports marketing company. There's the beast of a logo, and you and Val, most definitely, Mike, will be getting some merch coming from it. We're gonna wear that on the show heavy,
Oh
some
boy.
hats and t-shirts. And
Man.
what we are is the Rise NIL, and I created a sports marketing company designed to specialize in this name, image, and likeness because the NCAA kind of gave that opportunity. And of course, as you heard Rob and a couple other guests we've had on
Mhm.
talk about the opportunity for these young athletes, Mike, that were doing under the table deals, right, back in the early
Mhm.
90s and late 80s and even
What?
to the 2000s.
UNLV? What?
Yeah, yeah, some UNLV, some talk to shark, what I'm saying, some Vegas moves. So
Hmm.
when I saw the
Same
opportunity
here.
come about, and I had an opportunity to jump at it. I got to give thanks to actually one of my personal kids that I work with. I was working to help him out, Val, and he said, "Coach,
Oh.
you kind of got all these kids and all these players, and you got a huge AAU program, and year after year after year with the basketball and recruiting and stuff, you continue to help us get to the next level. Why do you continue to give these kids away? Why don't you stop and look and see that we're loyal to you. We're going to help you out. Why don't you launch your own company?" And then this past January, the Rise NIO was born. And lucky to say, Val and Mike, I opened it up. I already got 23 kids signed to me, over 15 universities across the country, including some Power Five universities. And the beautiful part about that is the guests that we got on the night. Mike, you talking about Black history? Val, you talking about Black history? We may
Mhm.
be witnessing an opportunity to have a young athlete that is with me on our show tonight for the first time, that 10 years or 15 years from today, we may be saying that she may be one of the greatest tennis players that's out there, and we premiered her on this show before anybody.
Wow. I'm excited. Why don't you go ahead and introduce her?
Well, hey, listen, everybody out there, as you watching this show, of course, we're Interludes Talk on Tuesday, and of course, my main man, Mr. Mike Womble, and of course, the moderator who keeps me and Mike balanced, Val the voice, and you got me every day, baby, Coach Tony. I want to bring on none other than world class, world game gymnast, and Mr. Stan Chinyuri, and is absolutely I can't say enough about her, but Malika Chinyuri, up and coming tennis star. Welcome to the show.
Ooh, let's bring him on. Let's bring him on. Ooh.
Bring him out, bring him out, bring him out. Tell him, Mike, what's up, guys?
Hey.
Hi, Coach. Hi, Miss Val. Fantastic show so far. We love it. Thank you for bringing up that topic we got into. That's very important to our hearts. And let me introduce you, my
Hi.
daughter.
Hi, young lady.
Hi.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
This is our very first time, a big opportunity. We just want to thank you all for letting us come into your podcast and just want to share with Coach Tony.
Good.
And
I'm gonna help Mike and Val out before we jump into the sports side of the house. It's going to lead into that, and Mike and Val, you'll be heavily impressed. Stan, if you could speak to, we talking about the violence that goes on in America, different things that goes on. Of course, this is the beginning of Black History Month. For those that don't know, Stan, once again, Val and Mike, he's from our day, back in the early 90s, baby. So he's one of our guys. Take hats off to, and come all the way to the United States from Zimbabwe, Africa. Stan, speak a little bit about, we talk about the situations that go on in the States. Speak a little bit about your growing up in the world and how that played a part with you and leading up to you getting here to the United States.
Hey, America was always something we valued. I was born in a free Zimbabwe, but at the same time, I was aware of the history of the United States. And I knew that I also had a dream. From that speech we all saw many years ago, that dream became rooted in me. And, with God's love and gift, I was fortunate enough to do the sport of gymnastics. As you know, not many of our brothers and sisters do that, but I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to meet a lot of coaches that helped me along the way, and found myself here in the United States in 1997 and where I coached. And I loved the sport because it brought many people together. I still share, the sport with most of my countrymen back home, but this became my home, and we were fortunate enough to have a wonderful daughter. And as you can tell, now I do a little bit of both because I found that she had a gift, and then that's where we started following the footsteps of the greats, the Williams, Chandra Rubin, Rebecca, Garrison, Zena. I loved the tennis, and when she started loving tennis, we just hung on with it. And with God's love, she has blossomed to be one of the top kids here in Colorado.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so here's my question, because it can be just tough, the transition from Zimbabwe to here, but then sports is everywhere. And I think also in Zimbabwe, football is soccer. I'm assuming that's I'm assuming that's what it is. But
Yes.
the natural draw to tennis, like
Yes.
I'll ask her, like, who is your favorite tennis player?
So she's not really like a famous person, like
Yet.
oh yeah, like
Yeah.
all,
Yet.
but she's Alicia Keys.
Alicia Parks.
Alicia,
Oh,
yeah, I meant Alicia Parks. No, there's like two Alicias in there all the time. Alicia Parks, and I really like her because like she has like a really powerful serve, and she doesn't just like give up, and yeah, she keeps fighting.
oh my gosh. And you have a beautiful first name. What does it mean?
Doesn't mean African princess, and what was the other one?
So it has three meanings because of Arabic. In Arabic, it's Malik, or I'm sure from boys, but angel surprise in Zulu. Malaika is angel surprise. So she is our surprise. Yeah.
Oh,
That's beautiful.
Mhm.
Absolutely beautiful. And Mike, I tell you what, and not even to let Stan don't pat his own back, but he gets here to the States, Mike, and then he gets recognized by the USAG,
mm.
doing gymnastics and teaching and coaching. He and I, we sat on the phone for quite some time because I'm the basketball coach and he's coaching and all that and kind of throwing different things off. And sometimes I think, Stan, I apologize for calling so late. He said, man, don't worry about it. I'm up late like you. So just get out to the gym. So it's great. But Malika, the question I want to know is, with a dad, with a background as your dad and the work ethic that he had and mom coming over, what did they instill into you to give you that work ethic that you got? Because, girl, I'm telling you, I'm from Chicago with Mike and Val, and I remember shoveling snow off my driveway and down the street in the park and cutting the fingertips out of gloves, shooting basketball when it was 22, 15 degrees, when people thought we were insane, but we were just playing ball.
Well,
So
Coach,
to see you do that. Yeah, Mike.
well, Coach, we got a question, a very similar question there that just came in. I want to bring it up. And
Okay.
it says hi. And what they want to know is about the practice regimen. How many hours do you practice a day? And they're asking about dad as a coach. So tell us about that.
So yeah, my dad is my coach. He's coached me since I was like 5, and he's he still continues to coach me. He does like work out with me in the morning before I go to school. And usually it's an hour in the morning, and then I go play at Apex Tennis Center or DTP that we've kind of just started. At Apex, it's about 2 hours, and then DTP is also 2 hours and an hour and a half.
Wow, that's amazing. So how do you as an athlete myself and all that, you're a young athlete, how do you have the opportunity to balance being a student athlete, being workouts and practice, and then still being just a normal kid?
Well, I try my best to not like focus all on my tennis, but like I think how I balance it is just thinking that school is really important, and tennis is also really important, but school also takes priority. So what I try to do is I think I just try and like I don't know, even at the times that I have with like my friends or stuff at school, like teachers and stuff, I try and make it like I don't know, like kind of even, so it's not just like always tennis.
Right.
And then in the morning, yeah, I try and finish my workout in early, so I'm not just struggling to get to school on time before.
That's good.
So
That's really good. I like that.
Yeah. Her school allows us to be able to get to school as and she uses the tennis as an elective, whereas
Oh.
others can have study period. We get home early enough to do our homework, and then yes, today we did shovel, Coach. We did
No.
shovel our courts so that next 6 days it's going to be sunny, so we can get in the extra time without having, as you know, tennis is quite an expensive sport. So
Yes.
the facilities we use, we have to pay, and so that helps a little bit more um, on things that we can do at home without having to spend more time on, like surf, and do the fitness. It just happened from my background. I can help her with some of the fitness stuff. However, sometimes whenever we need to get some assistance, we go to recognized coaches who give us some homework that we go back and work out just ourselves. Yeah.
That's awesome. And Mike and Val, we from Chicago, baby. We know about cold and snow, right? They in Colorado.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But you know what
Yeah.
I
Hey,
don't know
you know,
about is those trophies like that. Oh
look at
wow.
that. Hey,
Okay.
Mhm.
hey, Mike.
All
If you
right.
was shoveling snow off your driveway up, at the house up there in the city, you be getting them trophy too, man.
Well, I mean, yeah, because you motivated. I mean, I know that's we'll bring that question up in just a second, but oh wow, look at
Look at
that,
that.
nice.
Just all, and brother Stan being a little modest too, Mike. So Malek, I'm gonna tap your back a little, pat your back a little bit. She just came off of a tournament. She's ranked #1 in the state, getting ready to go to the top
Wow.
high school in the state.
Nice.
Academics is through the roof, but then she just comes out of a tournament playing in the 16U division, and I think Stan, did she win it or she finished #2? Was it?
She won the 16s, and in the
Nice.
14s that
Congratulations.
she lost in the semifinals.
Losses, and she just had Mike probably about a quarter more tank of that premium. She probably got through that.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask a slightly different question because I think, for most of us, we watch tennis sometimes on TV, or if we're lucky enough to get to an open or something along those lines. But a lot of us kind of learn tennis through, I would say I learned more about tennis than I knew, and I thought I knew a lot about it from watching King Richard, the movie that came
Mhm.
out within the last couple of years, and seeing what the Williams family went through and to push both of those champions forward. And so I want to ask you, Dad, coming into it,
Mhm.
and also you, Malika, and if you have seen that movie, how accurate is that in terms of what it takes to be self motivated, what it takes in terms of trying to navigate a sport like tennis? As you said, it's an expensive sport. It demands different things of you. Time. The facilities aren't usually in every community. So was that a pretty accurate depiction? Those of us that have seen that movie, is
Absolutely.
that how it was?
Absolutely.
Okay. Hmm. Go right ahead. Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Womble, what I know was just watching that, I was seeing a little bit of what I go through in
Mm.
the early days of Richard. Yes, I did
Mm.
not grow up in Compton, or where there was all that, gang,
Yes. Sure.
but you have to fight. You have to. Um, it's a difficult sport because it requires the whole entity of you as a person, as a
Mhm.
dad, as a
Mhm.
family at the same time. And yes, you experience that where people are talking about how how Richard was not, they were not caring about the daughters, when it becomes a family thing, because if it is their dream, you have to live it too as a parent.
I,
You
Mm,
know, um,
yeah.
I think she can speak to herself about her experiences of watching the movie. Remember, I took her to watch the movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought that the movie was. I thought it was pretty accurate about like playing on like the courts where it's like raining, and we don't play on like we play on like this court like where it's surrounded by trees, but when it's wet, it's wet. It's not gonna dry in like a day. So I know a couple of times where we've like kept on playing on our courts where it's starting to rain and people are like running into their houses, and like those guys are insane. They're playing on the tennis courts that are wet, and like I feel like it was pretty accurate about how like tennis is like it's like a part of you. It doesn't just go away. Like like it's you're also a family member. You're not like just a tennis player. And
Oh, that's all. And see, I kind of come from a different angle than Mike. I got involved in it in the early to the mid '80s, watching a lot of it because my frat brother, who has a court named after him in Flushing, New York, none other than Arthur Ashe, is the Kappa Alpha Psi member, and and I got a chance because I watched him while I was in college, while he was still here playing a lot of tennis. And so you're looking at people like that, Malika, and the Serena and Venus, and looking at the new tennis players, the pressure that Osaka has gone through and pulled herself away from tennis, and then looking at the up and coming Coco Golf and doing a thing like that. What does that do to you as a young African American woman coming up in the game or the sport of tennis? And the other thing is, how do you think that with the work ethic your dad has shared and put into you, how do you think that you're going to be able to use that work ethic to then cut your own piece in this pie down the road?
So I feel like what like you said, like Coco Gauff and what Serena Williams did and what like the Williams sisters did, I feel like they paved a path for us for like other African American girls that like would love to play tennis and just like they don't have that many opportunities. Like I feel like they've paved a path for us to walk and to follow in their footsteps and then to make our own trail as we go along. And then I feel that like my parents or my dad's work ethic, like how it would how it's like impacted me. It's like I get like I'm not just gonna like give up. Like he didn't give up when things got hard. Like he didn't just turn around and be like, oh, it's too hard. Okay, I'm done. He kept going. He kept fighting, and I feel like that's something I've gotten from him and from my parents, because I just like when I look at them and I watch them and I see them go through hard things, like, yeah, they get like upset and they're struggling. Like you can see that they're like, it's not easy, but they still keep on going because they know there's something good at the end.
Oh, that's beautiful. Val and Mike, I want you guys to know, by the way, this is my youngest athlete signed to Rise NIL, by the way. And you can see why that she's part of it. It makes me just cringe inside to know that got a young lady like this that is going to be absolutely phenomenal down the road. And the work ethic is none other than nothing. And Dad's put that into her and all that. You know, when you speak to like about the stars and the greats and stuff of that nature, you know, where with you, what if you had to choose one of the major events, whether it be Wimbledon, US Open, Australian Open, tell me which one of the events that you would say, Coach, down the road, I'm going to be at all of them. Or what's the one event that you would just be just in awe to play at?
It would be Australian Open.
There you go. Really I'm going to be right there with you, too. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to be right in Australia when we go, when we're right next to you.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? This has been a great education for our audience, and definitely just kind of, Coach, we're excited to hear about your talented athletes that you're going to be grooming and getting out there. And Malika, it's been a pleasure to have you on along with you, Stan, Papa, Papa Bear, making sure that his daughter is doing the best. I don't know if there's any other questions. I thought I saw one on the floor that probably was answered, but what happened sports, and I think Stan probably answered this. Dad, and also look at how do you keep like motivated? If you could answer that.
Thank you very much for that question. That's a very important question because, as you know, these are kids growing up.
Yeah.
So what we've tried to do, my wife and I, as a family, we include these tournaments as part of a family thing. So we have a 7-year-old son. When we go to tournaments, we make sure that we find either a national park or a zoo that we include as part of an educational part of this whole trip. Motivation is very important. And so we always, like, for her, we always want her to meet the idols, and just to keep that flame going. We try and make sure that we raise a human being who's respected in the community, as well as, passing on that torch. So we try and include all those areas just to keep us grounded as people, as well as be respectful of those who have paved the way.
That's awesome.
It sounds like you're gonna need to check out some panda and some koala bears and some kangaroos soon, right?
We got to go to Africa.
Right.
Land down under. All right.
Hey.
We'll be looking for you at a future Australian Open.
Hey, Mike, Val, we're gonna be doing it there. And one last question. I saw someone pop up, and that's a great question too, Malika. They talked about pregame jitters, and when you're preparing yourself for a match, and you're trying to get yourself together for that day. Do you have a certain routine? Because I'm a coach, and I know we had a game the other night, and I tell my kids, I don't care what's going on. I don't care what's happening in your world. I just know when I pull up in the parking lot and I open that gym door, and when I walk through that gym door, my mind automatically gets locked in. I don't care if I'm listening to gospel music, rap, country, reading a Bible book. It doesn't matter. Once I walk through that door, I'm locked in, and I'm ready to perform as a coach to give my players the best they can do so they can perform the best. So when you walking on that court and you leave dad and mom in those stands and you hit that court, and I know your butterflies there and I know you're nervous, but is there a certain routine that you have that allows you to just calm down and play?
Yeah, so I say affirmations in the car. Like, I tell myself, like, I'm always on my A game and play tennis with intensity. And I tell myself that. So then when I walk on court, and I choose my favorite affirmation, and I walk on court, and then I repeat it in my head. And then while we're warming up, I'm going through my affirmations and just trying to breathe and not let all of my like what you said, butterflies get the best of me. And so another thing I do is I sing a song. Well, not out loud, but in my head, I'm going through the song while I'm playing. And
what song?
Fight song. Or,
okay.
No complicated songs, but just a random song that I choose that's a really cool song that I like. And then I go through it while I'm playing, and it keeps me calm. I try and smile, which I'm still trying to work on while I'm playing, to keep myself relaxed. And yeah.
That's awesome. That is. And Mike and Val, and you wonder why I'm rocking with her, and these brands are starting Well, I tell you, when we lock these brands down to that, you're looking at a superstar. You're looking at an opportunity that America, again, Stan Chinyeri, Malika Chinyeri, your future, the Knicks. After right now, we hear all about Coco Golf and the young lady that Malika just talked about. But this young lady right here will be coming up next. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't have your eyes locked on this podcast and subscribing, you are missing a lot of good stories coming through here, and this is one of the best.
Malika and Stan, we want to thank you guys so much. Give them a round of applause. Thank you for coming to Talk on
Thank you very much.
Tuesday.
Thank you for inviting us. Yes.
We'll be
Wonderful.
looking out for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. You always bring great folks to us, Coach. I love it.
We
Yeah.
love it.
This
Gosh.
beast right here, Mike. This young lady, man, keeps me on my toes. The opportunity for me reaching out, talking to a lot of new brands without me putting them out. I got a couple of big box brands that's talking to me right now. Want me to to communicate with them, with some athletes, specifically requesting tennis players, volleyball guys, golfers, basketball, and it's been great. And I was really, speaking of that, Val, I was that new athlete, and I was that question that was just answered. I was so nervous launching the company because I kept saying, "Oh man, what if I fail? What if nobody want to talk to me? And what if this and what if that?" And believe it or not, I took the smallest things, and it opened a door. And that was as I was watching TV, just basic TV. I started to look at these commercials, and then all of a sudden I started to link in with these people, and I started to do my homework on these commercials. And I've had meetings with Lululemon, Louis Vuitton, Lacoste, Anatomy, which is my guys. I love Anatomy to death, and some more. And they're still coming. Some slide companies, things of that nature. And now, like Malika just said, now I get a chance to breathe a little bit and doesn't have to do that. So
and speaking of commercials, we got commercials.
Look at that. Speaking of commercials, let's get ourselves a commercial next Tuesday. Hold on, Coach. Next Tuesday, check back in with us next Tuesday, and Coach Tony will give you a breakdown leading into Super Bowl. All right.
Which will be in Arizona.
And tell you he's going to give you, for promotional purposes only, of course, the winners of the Super Bowl, how much they're going to score, and talk about this historic matchup between these two black quarterbacks.
Hey, Mike, I tell you what, I got
that next Tuesday.
I got mad at myself, Mike, because I went back and looked at an earlier podcast when you and I was talking, and I had Philly back then, and I don't know why I changed. I think I changed because San Fran was playing well. But for promotional purposes, thank you, KC, because I covered that 2.5 with that 3-point field goal.
That's okay. That's all right, Coach. You made the same mistake Nick Saban did by letting go of Jalen Hurts. That's okay. When he gets his ring eventually, he'll
gonna get that ring, baby.
He'll probably take a picture of it and send it to Coach Saban in Alabama and say, "Look, one of your Alabama quarterbacks made good in the NFL."
There you go. And don't forget, Mike, it's not only the first Super Bowl with the first two black quarterbacks, but it's the first Super Bowl with two brothers in Kelsey facing each other. So that's going to be awesome.
We got black quarterbacks and brothers. We got brothers and brothers.
Brothers and brothers. Brothers going to work it out. Brothers going to work it out. Brothers going to work it out.
Speaking of going back to the PE, I'm gonna be talking about music tomorrow. So, that was a smooth transition, huh?
What you talking about, man? You talking about Public Enemy tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm gonna be talking about music tomorrow. I'm gonna be talking about music and how hip hop
jump on that. I'm gonna jump in on that.
Chuck D. You know I'm gonna get into.
Hey, I'm about to jump. I'm about to be your road dog tomorrow. Cause when did you decide that you like hip hop?
Now you're sounding like Brown Sugar. Oh my gosh.
My favorite scenes from Brown Sugar, definitely. Yeah, buddy. Tomorrow.
So, hashtag Wamba Wednesday is happening tomorrow. Woohoo!
Yeah,
There
we're
you
gonna be
go.
talking about how hip hop saved music and continues to save music.
Coming up
Checking out
on its
some things with
50th
Chuck.
anniversary, Mike. 50 years, they thought it was going to fail. It's coming up on 50 years
I
old.
know, and not only has it not failed, it's become part of the actual what you call it, the establishment. The establishment got hip hop at the Smithsonian, got hip hop at the especially at the African American Museum of History there.
And you got hip hop
going.
And you got hip hop and damn near all the PWR stuff. You know, you look at the commercials and look how they doing it. Come on, man. Come on. I remember back in the day.
That was one of the first walls that fell. But certainly the consciousness of music. It continues to be coming from hip hop, and thankfully, truth be told, it is a positive influence. And we'll get into that tomorrow.
And then also
tonight.
And then also for our audio podcast, we'll be kicking off Black History Month. It'll be the first time we'll do that. And also I'll be doing a post on Black history possibly every day on our Interludes YouTube channel as well as our Facebook channel. So check it out. It's about Black history, about Black history and how we made some history there. Interludes is streaming on our YouTube channel, Interludes Facebook group, and also is on LinkedIn and also our Pod TV Roku channel. Thank you so much, Mark Lee. If you're interested in being a sponsor, go ahead and let us know. I'll put that website in the chat. Link tr.ee/Pure Light Media. And Coach is still with us, but what's your name, Michael?
My name is not Battle Voice Johnson, nor is it Coach Tony, but this is still being Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesday with two of my favorite people. And let's bounce to that music.
Hey, next Tuesday, I'm gonna drop a special hat. Next Tuesday, I'm gonna drop a special hat strictly for Black History Month.
That's what we're talking about.
Don't meet me there. Meet me there.
And we're out. Peace.